Hello, Shane Renee. Welcome back to the channel or welcome to the channel. I am your self-love and relationship coach, human design coach, manifestation teacher, tarot reader, astrologer, all those things. If you're interested in any of my personal services, check the description box below. And I've recently added the members only video library, which includes my full shadow work healing course, my full manifestation course, and I'll be adding videos under all those umbrellas I just named on a regular basis. So with that said, all those links are below. Let's get into the video. Now, I decided to make this video titled Unique Things About Projectors. I'm probably going to call this part 2 because I feel like there was so much wind in the background in the last video, and I'm still going to leave the other one up in case I say some things in there that I forget to mention in here, and you can watch them both if you want. I'm going to probably say some things you've heard before and most likely enlighten you to some things maybe you haven't heard before. Either way, it's not going to be real structured. We're just going to talk about being a projector. All right, so we're going to skip the whole invitation thing because we already know that. If you're here watching this video, you already know that you need to be invited, right, and recognized. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that projectors are more easily conditioned than any other type. And the reason for this is that our focus is on others. That's literally how we're designed. We're designed to focus on the other because we are here to be guides, right, of other people. So we need to truly be very, very selective and really tap into our authority, our inner authority, when we are deciding who we're going to be around. And we need to make sure that we take enough breaks from other people to make sure that we remember us, to take care of us. Okay. You know already probably that projectors are one-on-one beings. So we can only really give our undivided attention to one thing and one person at a time. So this brings me to my next point. Two things, and we'll go into both. In relationships, projectors, number one, you need to realize that your partner cannot be your sole source of recognition all the time. Okay, even though they invited you, recognized you, and invited you to the relationship, hopefully, if you're following your strategy, they cannot be relied upon to be your sole source of recognition. You need other sources of recognition, okay? Maybe from work, maybe from friends, family, your hobbies that you get into, whatever it is. You need other sources of recognition because they're their own individual person. They have their own energy, their own life, and they can become quickly and very much drained, okay, of you if you are always relying on them to recognize you constantly. Number one. Okay. The other thing, and this is probably something you've experienced, but you may have never heard anyone say. Now, remember how I spoke just a minute ago, how projectors give this undivided attention to whatever and whoever they're focused upon. Now, people love projectors' attention. They love it. It's like a drug because we give an undivided attention like no one else. So they can become addicted to this attention. And then later, when you decide to pay attention to other things, which you will inevitably, whether it be a friend, a job, career, business, kids, whatever it might be, the person could become envious, could become jealous, become resentful. All right, especially if they're operating in not self. And you, as a projector, what's going to happen is usually one of two things when this envy, this jealousy, this resistance comes. Either you're going to start neglecting the other things you like to do or pay attention to because you don't want to lose the relationship, or you're going to find yourself fighting just to be yourself in the relationship, which projectors tend to experience anyway. Okay. Another thing I'll mention here that comes to mind, back to being careful about who you choose. So remember how I said that we can be, or we are the most susceptible to conditioning. So a lot of times people can manipulate us because of that, because we need to plug into that other energy source. And other times They're not even manipulating us. A lot of times projectors will, on their own, bend to the will of the other person or do what they think the other person needs. Okay. From that conditioning. So, again, you have to really be careful about catering to your needs as a projector, not just the other person's. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Uh, you could neglect your own stuff to keep a relationship because people want that undivided attention that they got from you in the beginning. So when you start relationships out for your own sake and theirs, so they're not drained from you needing their recognition, and so that you don't lose touch with yourself. Make sure that as much as possible you can keep those other plugs around from the very beginning. Okay? So the next point is sacral beings can be like crack fries. Okay? People with a defined sacral can be a drug and be very addictive for projectors. Obviously, because we don't have regular access to our own sacral energy, that life force energy, that creative energy, that sexual energy. So, if we're constantly in a generator field, which 9 times out of 10, if we step outside, we are, but even especially if you have your the people in your life, most likely many of them generators, manifesting generators, you can become addicted to that go, go, go energy, right? Because it fuels you. But what happens, just like with any drug, is that at first it makes you feel alive and then it starts to drain you. And because you're addicted, you just want more and you just want more, no matter how much it's training you. Okay? Projectors can get sick, just like anybody that's got a drug addiction can get sick when they're overdoing it. So again, take your breaks. Sex. Yes. We as projectors may not even naturally really have this high sex drive like on our own, or it's something we may not even think about. Now, I'm not going to say that about all projectors because everyone's different. You have a whole chart that may contribute to this, but in general, we don't necessarily need that release, that satisfaction, right? Because that's not our signature. Our signature is success, the way that sacral beings do. But if you are with a sacral partner, okay, then you can get very addicted to them sexually. And it's not so much, I don't think, about the physical feeling as it is that energetic charge. And remember, you amplify sacral energy because you don't have your sacral center defined, you amplify it. So in turn, when the sacral beings around you, their sacral energy gets amplified and they may get addicted to that, feeling like supercharged, right? Like super saying that. And then you are addicted to that amplified sacral energy that you feel in that exchange. And so it's nothing wrong with it, but again, you become drained with overconsumption of it. And number two, if you are with a not self partner or an unhealthy, connection, that sex can keep you stuck. Especially if you're your not self. That's why it's so important for you to align with your own projector energy. Okay? There was something else I was going to say and I lost it, but I know I said it in the other video. So like I said, if you want to watch both, you might hear some repeated stuff, but you might also catch some stuff that I forget here. All right, so let's keep going. Projectors, we understand things on a deeper level than everybody else. We just do. Okay. People can feel penetrated by us. They can feel not just penetrated because we do have a penetrating aura, but they can feel invaded, like partially invaded, for the fact that you can see so deeply into them, especially if you start speaking on the things that you're seeing without being invited. People get triggered, right? Even if they do invite you, sometimes they get triggered. I've had people, if they invited me, to read for them, doing tarot readings or guided sessions or whatever, and they're like, ooh, I'm not gonna lie, that one was touchy. That triggered me. But, they didn't get upset because obviously they came to me for a reason. So I was watching like this manifestation video last night of a quite a famous manifesting teacher on YouTube. Okay, and she's like explaining, how to change a belief system. But to me, looking from the outside looking in, it's very surface level, because I'm like, okay, they can change that belief at the surface, but underneath that belief would be this belief and this belief and this belief, right? That they will also need to go in and change. Okay. But that's part of our gift, that we know systems. We know how to learn systems, and we can see the deepest layers of everything. So another thing about projectors is there's the most different types of projectors. Like we have the self-projected projector, we have the mental projector, then we have the projectors called the energetic projector, where there's like all the lower definition minus the sacral. Like we have the most variations of like definition in our chart. I want to say there's like, don't get me to lying, but I want to say there's like 5 to 7 different types of projectors. Anyway, I know all the other types don't have as many different types of them within their type. Anyway, our motivation. Now, this is something you probably have not heard, and I heard this from Ra himself in a video. Still not sure as to why exactly this is true, but I applied this advice and it works in my life, so I'm going to share it with you. Your motivation. Now, everyone should be aligned with their motivation, right? But for projectors, Ra says is even more important, and it's also a reference point for us. So that's that top right area in your chart. And if you look in the design properties, you can see where it says motivation. I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but there's 6, right? There's need, there's fear, desire, innocence. Okay, a couple more. Projectors, and a reference point, the way to tell if you're in alignment or not is, are you operating from your motivation? Okay, because if you're not, you're in transference, especially when it comes to making decisions. Does this decision align for my motivation? Am I acting for my correct motivation? So if you don't know your motivation, find it in your chart, go Google it, YouTube it, find out all you can about it, start practicing to learn and recognize when you are operating in the opposite of that motivation, outside of that motivation. Okay, it really works. It does. For example, my motivation is need, and the opposite in transference of that would be fear. So fear in human design is like needing to know everything, right? Or needing to know everything before making a decision. So if I find myself over searching, over researching, over analyzing, then I know I'm operating in fear and not my true motivation, which is getting my needs met. Okay, so our experiment, our human design experiment usually takes longer. It's a longer process than other types. Ross said in the video, you can tell a manifestor or a generator, their strategy, their authority, they're good to go in a week or 2. They've got it, right? Should they, start applying it. For projectors, it takes a lot longer because we have to learn the system in its entirety, because that is the nature of us, to truly master a thing. A system in human design is a system. Our deconditioning process is more complicated because we're 20% and we're living in a world of 70% generators. Oh, I just remembered the thing and forgot. But yeah, be patient with yourself, with your experiment. Don't compare yourself to other people. The other thing I forgot is that we notice we're very different even from childhood. Okay? Because most people are trying to raise their kids to be a manifestor, because everyone's programmed to be a manifestor and go out and get it, go out and get it, go out and get it. Even if you have projector parents, they probably didn't have access to human design knowledge, right? And since only 10% of the world is manifestors, just about 90% of everybody's doing it wrong, right? Go out and make it happen. Be a self-starter, all that shit. Okay? So you probably felt this difference from the time you're conscious enough to recognize it, maybe 3, 5, 7 years old. It's always been different. It's just a thing. And parents, they don't really know how to raise projector kids. And we don't know what the fuck is going on. So, right from early, we try to be like Our parents want us to be like everyone else, and this is where our conditioning really, really, really starts. Really deep. Okay. Um, let's see. Last thing, in my personal opinion, and I know this might ruffle some feathers, and this is no hate, disrespect to anybody. I personally believe that projectors should be the only people truly coaching and teaching human design. Yeah, I said that because by our design, no pun intended, we're the only ones that can truly grasp it at its deepest core level, understand it at its deepest core level, and to teach something, you need to understand it. Now, I'll say, okay, so maybe like people who are generators and manifesting generators who teach, maybe they might work best with teaching people of their kind, of their type, but projectors are also the only ones that really understand the other, meaning the other types outside themselves as well as themselves. I mean, it's a system. This is what we do. But that's just a personal opinion. So I just added that kind of as a bonus. I thanks you guys for watching. You can add whatever you would like to add to the video in the comments. Bye.